right here I have all the books on my TBR, which I thought were more, but they're actually not that much. And also I haven't bought books in a really long time, but this is my physical TBR, and this is something that I've been wanting to kind of like look and get to, because there's some books in here that I'll probably read, and then there's other books in here that I just might not. With that being said, let's get into my physical TBR. Just thought about kind of doing this in this order only because it makes the most sense for me based on how I have them organized on my desk here, but I will start with my paperbacks first, and then at the end I'll get into the hardcovers that I have. I have like a little bit of everything. These are kind of like books that I've accumulated over time, probably since like I first started buying books for myself. So I would say this is like roughly around 2014, 2015. I also have books that were gifted to me in this pile. And obviously I have like a bunch of TBRs on my Kindle. I'm not gonna include my Kindle reads TBR this time around. I think I'm gonna do like a fall/winter TBR, and then I'll also include like the books that are on my Kindle as well, because I think that's just what makes the most sense for right now. My first pile, I have the X Talk. This is how she looks. She's cute. She's cute. I've actually been wanting to read it for a while. I added it to my Goodreads I think earlier this year, if I'm not mistaken, but it just looks like such a fun book. It looks like something that I would just eat up, and you know, I love me a rom-com. You know, I think this is Enemies to Lovers, if I'm not mistaken, or like Second Chance. I don't know, one of the two, I'm not sure, but I'm super excited to read this. Next book I have on my TBR, physical TBR, is I am so excited for this book. I love Emily Henry. I think that she's become probably my favorite romance author, and like, please just look at the colors, look at the cover, look at the thickness of this book. Like, I have nothing else to say, but yes, it's giving life, and it's really doing what it's supposed to be doing. Next is The Kite Runner. The person who gifted this to me told me that the book is actually a really good book. This I would say is kind of like a more classical novel. Like, this is like the kind of book that like students read in high school, and I never read it, you know, but I don't know. I've been told that the book is good. It has good reviews, so I do want to give it a try. I just don't know when, because I've had this book for years and like I haven't touched it. The next book is actually a book that I got from my dad on Christmas. I actually asked for it because I got into like this Isabel Allende black hole, maybe, I'm not sure, but this is The House of the Spirits by Isabel Allende, and she's actually Chilean, which is like where my mom is from, so I'm like half Chilean, you know, whatever, NBD. I feel like she's a very interesting author, and I feel like, I don't know, like I feel like her books might be interesting. I do feel like they have some sort of like non-fiction aspect to them. We'll see when I get to that. Finally, on this pile I have Twice in a Blue Moon by Christina Lauren, and this is her. Like, look at this book, it's so cute. I love the blues, I love the moon, the gold. This book I actually went to buy with a friend. She bought this book for herself, and then she bought me a book for my birthday, which is Think Like a Monk, which was a great read, by the way. She read Twice in a Blue Moon, and then she kind of gave it to me because she was like I don't want to own a bookshelf, so I'm just gonna give it to you. And I was like, okay, great. So this is now on my TBR, Twice in a Blue Moon by Christina Lauren, and I'm kind of excited to read it. I think it's like a romance. It looks like a warm, like a romance. Smells like a romance, so it's a romance. Next on my list, which I'm super excited to get into, is The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I heard so many good things about this book. I had to take a brief intermission because my camera battery decided to just like die. Back to my physical TBR. Next book I actually have is called Stumbling on Happiness. I actually found out about this book through a podcast, and I can't remember the name of the podcast. This has been on my TBR probably for like a year now, if I'm not mistaken, and so I don't know, I'm excited because it just kind of like combines psychology and like research and like all those kind of things that like I'm interested in, because it's kind of like trying to figure out what the mind-body connection is and like how us humans perceive certain things, like the future for example, and how certain situations like impact our choices. It looks like it's very short. The only thing is that the letters are really small. I'm intrigued. Next book that I have on my TBR is actually The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. I actually got as a Christmas gift, and I'm actually going to read it right now, today, like starting today. Very well straightforward, but it says back here, it says, doing well with money isn't necessarily about what you know, it's about how you behave, and behavior is hard to teach, even to really smart people. So this is my final paperback on my TBR, and it is actually a trilogy called Let It Snow by John Green and Maureen Johnson and Lauren Miracle. I believe these are young adult writers, but if you see like down here it says 3 holiday romances. I've had this book for a really long time. Like, I don't think I've touched this book since like I put it in my bookshelf. Now I'll probably donate it or sell it, but at one point in time, like, this was something that I really wanted to read because I was super into John Green, and like it was like this whole thing. But anyway, Let It Snow. I'm finally going into my hardcovers. A brief book stack. First book that I have on my hardcover TBR list is The Winter People by Jennifer Mahan. It sounds like something else. It's a word in Spanish, but we're not gonna get into that right now. Winter People. I think I started this book. I actually bought this book on Thrift Books a really long time ago, and I was just so intrigued because it was like a wintry kind of like thriller story, and I don't know, like it seems fun and like something like a quick read, like a light, let's go with that, like a cozy mystery. I probably will read it in the fall winter time, like maybe closer to December, just because it is like a winter book, The Winter People. I'll give it a read and let you guys know how it is. Next book that I have on my physical TBR for hardcovers is actually Dancing Lessons by Cheryl Burke. I got this book, I actually found it in Goodwill. So, as I was saying before I was briefly interrupted by these receipts, I actually got this book at a Goodwill, and I found it for $2. Here's the proof. So there's the proof that I got this book for $2. I bought it because I used to be obsessed with Dancing with the Stars. I actually bought this in 2020, so it's been 3 years since I've had this book on my TBR. I bought it because, of course, I used to be obsessed with Dancing with the Stars. I'm still obsessed with Dancing with the Stars. However, it's not that much of an obsession anymore. And I actually was able to go to their Dancing with the Stars tour this past year, like this past January. So I got it for myself as a birthday gift. I'm just really excited because I feel like Cheryl Burke has probably one of like the most interesting like human stories, and like how she got to be on Dancing with the Stars and like how she got to be in the dancing world to begin with. It has been something that I've been wanting to read. I just don't know if I'm still as excited to read it. Like, it's just kind of been sitting there. However, it does have like pictures, like photos of her when she was like touring, and like, you know, like her on Dancing with the Stars and training and all of that. Like, you see like just photos of her in her life, and look, there's her on Dancing with the Stars. Next book that I have on my physical TBR for hardcovers is The Thursday Murder Club. And I've heard great things about this book and all the other books that follow the series. I do think that this is something that I'm probably gonna read soon. I haven't had this book for a while, maybe like a year and a half, maybe. Not longer than like 2 years or 2.5. I'll probably buy like the other 2 books if I like this one to complete the whole set. I think it's 2 books if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so I'll let you guys know how it goes, and you'll probably see this soon on like my fall winter TBR list. So the next book on my physical TBR is The High Five Habit by Mel Robbins. Something that I would love to read, and I've just been super into like being disciplined and consistent with things, and I hope that I continue to be that way, because sometimes like it gets so overwhelming and there's like so many things to do that sometimes I find myself being like really shallow and like really just kind of like annoyed at everything. It's very like brief moments in time, and it doesn't happen often, but when I do find myself feeling that way, I'm like, no girl, you need to cut it. You need to cut it out. Like, you need to cut it out. The reason why I got this book is because I also read Atomic Habits, I think like last year or 2 years ago, and I've been meaning to reread it, but as you can see with this physical TBR, and I'll probably buy more books like soon. It's been kind of hard to reread. However, I do want to read Atomic Habits again, and then I'll probably read The High Five Habit. Take control of your life with one simple habit. It's her in the back, isn't she cute? It's time for you to believe in yourself again. So the next book I have on my physical TBR for hardcovers is No Safe House by Linwood Barclay. This book, I actually got it thrifting as well. I think I got it for like $3 up in West Palm. He has really good books, and I have a book friend who swears by him and the next author that I'm going to show you. But I actually bought this book because she was talking about him like for the longest time, and I was like, you know what, like I've heard of him, might as well like give it a shot. Still haven't given it a shot. However, I will, and this will probably be, you'll probably see this book again in my TBR for this year. Last but not least, the author and book of the evening, Harlan Coben's The Innocent. Some mistakes can change your life forever. So this book is actually my friend's favorite author, Harlan Coben. She swears by him. I think she's read like almost all his books, and I'm like totally here for it. Like, you go girl. However, this has been in my TBR for like 3 years, and this is my friend's book. Like, you can even see like her little stamp that she put up there. I want to read it, I just don't know when, but I will read it. I promise I'll read it. That, ladies and gentlemen, is my final book of this whole physical TBR that I have in my possession currently. This does not mean that I will stop buying books. Any person that owns books will know that there's no way that you cannot buy books. Even if you have books that you haven't read, like you still need to buy books. So that's still gonna be a thing. It's just that this pile is gonna get a lot bigger, you know? As of right now, I'm just gonna kind of like stick to my Kindle and stick to like the physical books that I have here, and then probably buy like 1 or 2 if they're on sale, or if I find them somewhere, you know, like that kind of thing. So I'm gonna put my books away, and that's it. So you guys, we've concluded this video. That's all I have for you guys today, but I will be back with a fall winter TBR, and that will be mixed with Kindle and physical copies. You can always follow me on Instagram at MurielAlmeida_X, and you can also follow me on Goodreads as well. You can see all my updates there, all the books that I add. Yeah guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.